In this video, I reached out to multiple fish YouTubers and asked them to feature in this special video of mine. I asked them to send me a video of them telling the story of their worst fish keeping mistakes. This wasn't so as much to, talk crap about people, but more to show all the beginners out there that it's okay to make mistakes. Everyone made mistakes, even experienced aquarists that you can see on YouTube. So here you have it, the worst mistakes fish YouTubers have ever made. Before we actually get into the video though, I would like to say a very special thanks to everyone who participated in this. It took a very long time for me to compile everything, so special thank you to everyone who made their debut. All of the relevant links to all the channels and videos in this thing will be in the pinned comment.
G'day legends, and thanks Ned for inviting me to share my experience on this really important topic. My name is Blake and my channel is Blake's Aquatics. If you've never seen my stuff before, which is very possible, I've been keeping fish for 4 or 5 years now, and things have changed quite a lot in my hobby. So when talking about the biggest mistakes that you can make, I think it's often just straying from having fun. Life can change pretty quickly, and I'm one who sort of gets a lot of aquariums pretty quickly. So I've currently got over 50 aquariums here in my garage. But also, in terms of life changing a lot, when I first started keeping fish tanks, I had my firstborn child. Now I've got 3 children. My work has changed 3 or 4 different times. I've moved houses 3 or 4 different times, and everything has changed. I've included making videos in that. So the thing is, I think often we can get really caught up in collectoritis and just need all these tanks straight away, need all these fish straight away. And in the end, you just don't give any of them really the attention that you should, especially when things go wrong. So that to me just takes away all the enjoyment of it and creates a very stressful environment. And if anything, this hobby should just be a load of fun, a barrel of laughs. So I think, if anything, keep the amount of aquariums about half of what you think is easily maintainable. In that way, if you have something going on in life, if you have some stresses at your job, if you have some issues with anything, any number of things, if your car breaks down or whatever it is, then you've got the capacity there to keep things ticking along and it doesn't become overwhelming. You're not stressing about all those things, plus water changes, plus feeding, plus keeping the lights on. So to me, that is kind of my biggest mistake, is often expanding too fast, getting too many tanks all at once, and just getting a bit stressed with it, when really at the end of the day we should be having fun.
G'day everyone, it's Lazarus here, and today I'm on Ned's Fish Tips channel, and I'm really excited to be on Ned's channel today doing a collab with him. And so today I want to answer basically the question on what's the worst fish keeping mistake I've ever made. And firstly, if you don't know me, I'm Lazarus, and I run a channel called Lazarus the Fish Boy, but I also run 5 aquariums. This is one of them behind me, the 90 litre. With that said though, what is the worst fish keeping mistake I've made? And to be honest, it was probably when I set up a 60 litre tank, which is the outside tank actually. I had that running for about 2 to 4 weeks, so I had it properly cycled and all, but I just had an internal filter running, an Aqua 1 to be specific, and when I did stock it with fish, I bought about 6 fancy goldfish. Now, what's wrong with that? Everything. So the first thing that's wrong with buying 6 fancy goldfish for a 60 litre tank all at once as the first batch of fish, well, firstly, that was probably way too much fish I added into the tank at once. So what I should have done was probably add 2 goldfish in at once, and then a week later add in another 2, then another 2, because the beneficial bacteria can't break down a lot of those ammonias and nitrates and stuff, which can kill your fish, and it's basically just pollution in the water. Now the other thing that was wrong with that, which is probably the most obvious, is that they're goldfish. Goldfish in a 60 litre is not ideal at all, especially 6 goldfish. So didn't know what I was doing back then, but that was about 3 years ago I made the mistake. But basically what made it one of my worst experiences was over the next couple of days after I added the fish, 5 of them were dead and I had 1 left. Now the 1 goldfish that did survive, I've actually had for years now. Sadly, he did pass away only the other day, but yeah, he was a ranchu goldfish. But I bought like 5 other fancy goldfish like black moors, fantails, and another ranchu, something like that. Yeah, way too many goldfish for a 60 litre, and just in general, adding them all at once was a horrible mistake. Plus, some of them were pricier than I was used to buying, so I did lose quite a bit of money since I did save up for all that. And it cost about $50 for just those 6 fish, which for me at the time was quite a lot. So I was really bummed about that, but I don't have any good setups for goldfish right now at all, so I'm just going to steer away from them for a while until I dedicate a tank to goldfish with the proper requirements that goldfish need. Yeah, that's probably the worst mistake I've made in the fish keeping hobby. I've made plenty of others though. Completely fine if you make mistakes too. I mean, you don't learn if you don't make mistakes, and that's the best way to learn a lot of things in this fish keeping hobby. So thank you so much for watching and having me on your channel, Ned. It's been an honor, and I hope you have a great day, and everyone watching. And if you are interested, check out my channel. I do lots of fish keeping aquarium content, but enough about that. I hope to see you guys in a later video, and once again, thanks for watching.
Hey, hello everybody. My name is Jorge from Mexicali Fish Keeper. Today I'm doing a little collab with Ned Fish Tips. He reached out to me and said if I was interested in helping him out with this project, and I was really flattered that he actually reached out. If I'm not mistaken, we're supposed to be talking about the worst fish keeping mistake we've ever done. And the thing is, as long as I've been in this hobby, there's been multiple mistakes that I've committed throughout the course of me keeping fish. There's a lot of them that come to mind, but I guess I could talk about the most recent one that happened to me maybe about 3 or 4 months ago, maybe a little bit longer. But that's the most recent one. As you guys can see, I have multiple tanks here in the fish room, and I started doing a water change on an aquarium that it's my bristlenose pleco breeding tank. And you'll see the video right now of that aquarium. Well, anyways, started out like a typical day. Came in here, siphoned out the water, and but I was a little bit pressed for time, and I wanted to get some stuff done. So I started multitasking, which is never really a good idea when you're trying to get things done in a fish room, because you can get sidetracked. Needless to say, I was able to siphon out the water, and I was, doing some other stuff here in the fish room. I was listening to a live stream, or I don't remember if I was listening or I was actually on the panel of the live stream. Knowing that I wasn't going to be paying full attention, I purposely started the water and let it fill up at a slow trickle, because I wanted to have a little bit more control. I didn't want it to catch me off guard and overflow the aquarium. So I'm about 30 minutes into doing whatever it is that I was doing. I hear a door. I hit the door. Went to go see who it was there. See if I was, I get packages on a regular basis and stuff like that. Well, I went to go check the door and realized that it's getting real close for me to go back to work. It's, my work schedule's coming out. The time that I was supposed to go in. So I scramble out the door and leave, get to work. And I'm in the middle of my work schedule doing whatever I am, when all of a sudden I get a phone call, which is not very often that I get calls at work. And I look, and it's my wife. So I pick it up, and she sounds a little bit concerned because she just pulled into the driveway at her house, and there's water coming out of the garage. So immediately I go into panic mode because I have my aquariums in the garage. And I tell her, please go in there and look as quickly as possible. I was thinking that maybe one of the racks had given way and, sent down some of my aquariums crashing onto the ground. She doesn't see any area where the water's coming from, but she can hear it. She can hear water hitting the ground. And as she starts looking at all the aquariums, I realized that I was doing a water change. And I could see the hose. I have a little spigot that I made with some PVC pipe, the hook that I put in there, and that's how I fill up the tank, and I see it in that aquarium. And immediately I knew what I had done. I knew what my mistake was. I had left the water on and it had been running for approximately 2 hours. I told my wife, just close the faucet, and once I come home, I'll deal with this. Well, I got home late, and it wasn't until the following morning that I came in the fish room and I started to see how serious the damage had been. Fortunately for me, our garage is concrete cement, So there wasn't, any damage to the floor. The racks are, 2x4 lumber with cinder blocks, the concrete blocks. So there wasn't any much of that. But as I'm moving stuff around to try to see where the water had worked its way out, I'm following this trail of little plecos that I guess when the tank was overflowing, they came out the top, hit the ground, and they followed the direction of the water. So there must have been at least like 6 along the edge of the wall that leads out to the garage of all these different sized plecos that were just on the ground. Needless to say, that was not a good thing. In the bigger scope of things, it could have been a lot worse.
Yo, what is up? This Aquavong here. Look, Ned hit me up. He said, hey man, what's your worst day ever? Okay, I'll tell you my worst day ever. But I'm going to tell you right now, it wasn't my fault. I'm going to tell you right now, it was, you know who. Let me explain to you how it went down. Come home from work on a Friday, sit my happy butt down, and I'm looking at the TV, I'm looking at the tank. Looking at the TV, looking at the tank. Notice that the tank, there's no gyration in the water. That's because my power head had fell down. It was the suction cup one, right? So I didn't have no motion in the ocean, no commotion. I wasn't getting no oxygenation. But I figured, you know what, everything is fine because the filter, my canister filter, was pumping out water and it was jigga, 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 jigga. It was doing good. They'll be all right. I'll deal with it tomorrow. I'm tired. Went to bed, woke up Saturday, slept in. Woke up at about 11. Came outside, looked at my tank because I was going to do a video featuring those fish. They was all dead. D-E-D, dead. I said, what the heck happened? As I'm pulling the fish out, I noticed my water is really warm. I said, oh, that's really, really warm. My heater had busted, y'all. It made my temperature rise. It was also time for me to change my canister filter media because it was getting kind of dirty. It was an African cichlid tank, all peacocks, all beautiful. I'm telling you, it was at least $2,000 worth of fish in there. So because the filter was a little bit on the dirty side, the heater had raised the temperature up to dang near scalding, and my power head not producing the proper water circulation so that air can be transferred properly. In a nutshell, my fish suffocated due to lack of oxygenation. High temperatures, bad for oxygenation. No motion in the ocean, bad for oxygenation. Dirty filter, less flow, bad for oxygenation. All this could have been avoided if I would have got off my lazy butt and fixed the power head so that I could get oxygenation. But all that other stuff, that was on him. Don't procrastinate. Fix the little problems when you see them so they don't turn into big problems the next morning. All right, Ned. That's all I got, man.
The worst mistake I have ever made went like this. 6 months previous to this story, I had purchased 3 very good-looking angelfish from my local fish store. They were marble and gold cross veiltail. One day I came home from school and went to look at my fish when I noticed hundreds of little dots all over my filter. They were eggs. I had a panic attack and started trying to grab a container and spoon and scrape the eggs off into the container. As you would have guessed, they all would have resulted in death because of being roughly handled. Like, as you can see behind me, this is the 4-foot. This was not always the tank, but I have now a slate. That's where all the angelfish come and they lay the eggs on that, and I can take it out and basically raise them. Unfortunately, I have also lost the other angelfish, but I do have this breeding pair here. But anyway, basically I did that and it just killed the eggs. I didn't really think about it too much. So after that, I did a bit of research and I looked at like a bunch of different channels on YouTube, like a lot of you beginners were doing, and I was a beginner at this time. And even, today I still make mistakes, but I bought a breeding tank, a breeding slate for them, and a 70-litre tank. I rushed home, set up the tank, I scaped it perfectly and it looked amazing. I filled it up and plugged it in with cords, and then 2 days later I went back after the babies, like the next lot of babies had been put in there and they were all dead. And that's because I didn't cycle it. I got too caught up in the you know, the killing of the angelfish eggs and then the angelfish laying more babies. And yeah, basically what I'm trying to say is do a bit of research before, it can be very exciting at times, but to make sure the proper things are done and you don't really stuff up everything, it's always good to have a look online and, you know, get a gauge and see how you can do things.
Hey all, Martin from Sydney Aquatics here. Alright, first one, back when I had some of my first tanks, I had a couple of the small 20 litres in my bedroom. One of them had a big rock in it. One day came home, saw the water was half empty, the whole carpet was wet. When I had a look, turns out that big rock made a cracked glass there. No idea how that happened, but be careful with your rocks. Don't get too big ones in your glass and don't drop them. This one's a bit of a funny story. Back when I was just starting out selling plants, we got some Elodea, and I was selling Elodea on eBay along with a bunch of other plants, but that was one of the ones we were selling. Now, unknown to me at the time, Elodea is counted as a weed in New South Wales, so it is illegal to sell. You can't have it, you can't sell it, yeah, you're basically not allowed to. Now, I had it up on eBay, and then I got an a message from eBay, a big, strongly worded message about like that it's not allowed to sell this, and that someone's going to have to come and inspect, and there's big fines and things like that. It's the kind of message that nowadays when you get on Facebook is usually a scam, but during that time I thought it was pretty serious. And anyway, I think he gave a number or something like that, or asked for an email. Okay, it was quite a long while ago, but I'm pretty sure I ended up replying, and ended up calling whoever it was. They were really nice, there was no problem at all. They were very happy that I was cooperative. Someone had to come in, he came over, had a look at my tanks, saw that I removed all of it and disposed of it, and that's it, everything was good. He also gave me some funny stories when he came of complaining about some of the other, I will not name them, but some other companies that supply plants who are being very, who are not particularly cooperative and things like that. But yeah, turned out all good. Just stopped selling it and it wasn't any issue. But double check that if you're ever going to be selling anything online, double check that your plants are not weeds wherever you're selling from.